Hello everyone and welcome to another video. How is everyone doing and how was your start of the week? Mine was marvelous, and I had a good Monday start. Today we are going to see how you can play Volibear with lethal tempo. I think it is a desperate attempt to recover Volibear's early game power spike with this rune and items. But before we explain how you can achieve this, I want to mention that while editing this video, I noticed someone left me a comment. To my surprise, it was a negative comment. I have been looking forward to this for a very long time, but the sad part about this comment is that it left a bad taste in my mouth. Let me tell you why. It's not just that the comment was negative. It was so bad that it didn't even leave a significant impression or move my feelings at all. Imagine that you are looking forward to something, and when it happens, it's not what you expected. So, I thought to myself, maybe I didn't understand the comment and the issue was with me. So let's ask ChatGPT if it can rate this comment on a scale of negative comments since the invention of the internet. To my surprise, even ChatGPT was disappointed with this comment. It was a 3 out of 10. I gave it 2, but I think ChatGPT was more generous. So, for you guys who sadly didn't like my content, I feel sorry for that. But please, whenever you try to leave me a negative comment, try to invest more emotions in it. Try to leave a real bad comment as if you are trying to punch someone. If you are wondering, I play League of Legends at the end of a long day at work. You need to try harder to impress me with bad comments. If I can't play League, I play Batman Arkham Knight and beat people down and run over criminals with my Batmobile. I don't play it for the detective or undercover missions. I just like to beat bad people up. So please, whenever you try to leave me a bad comment, try harder. I would really appreciate it. So back to our game. I assumed that life was fair and if you get bad comments, you get good teammates. But it happened that you get bad comments and bad teammates. But to be fair, I was doing very well in this game. The idea behind my build is that we will go for, and hear me out, Berserkers, Greaves, and Legend, Alacrity. The new season gave us a very old item, a reminiscent item which was built years ago on Volibear, and it is the Zephyr. It is a very late game item, but it is a possibility. So my plan is based on this principle, and that the highest defensive stat in any game and even in real life is dodging and parrying. If you manage to dodge damage, you have infinite defensive stats, and if you parry any attack, you have double that infinity. Hence, if we improve our gameplay, we will get a slight boost in attack speed and benefit from the older version of Volibear that was mainly based on lethal tempo. This is the general idea, and don't be surprised. It was very effective. I won every early game skirmish in these 3 games. The only part is that you lose some games and win some games, which totally relies on many other events. But as the champion stands by itself, Volibear with attack speed boots and Legend of Alacrity with press, the attack is, in my opinion, the best form of the bear right now if you play with a very aggressive playstyle. So yeah, in this game I really enjoyed this playstyle. The sad part is that even in the champ selection we had a trash-talking Jinx who was bragging that she would carry the whole game. Unfortunately, that player didn't perform well at all. The game was between me and Cho'Gath, but sadly, Cho'Gath, even though he played well, I think he gave up. Maybe he just wanted to go to sleep. I told him that whenever we do Baron or Drake, his presence would be very much appreciated since he can outsmite me and Xin Zhao. But sadly, he decided to split push, and we ended up losing most of the fights because Ahri and Caitlyn were very good. Most of the game involved me dying alone, followed by Vel'Koz, because Jinx didn't participate. I think she was intentionally avoiding playing with the team just because I said some unsavory things. To be honest, I just told her, let's hope that your ego matches your skills. You can't just talk all high and mighty and then not play well at all in this game. Well, that was it for the first game. In the second game, I was still excited about the build, so I decided to let it slide, start a fresh one, and go with the same approach, same build, and same mentality. We would try to carry this game by ourselves. And lo and behold, it was Twisted Fate top lane. Now, usually this pick shouldn't perform well at all, but I was shocked when I found out that this pick is actually one of the highest picks now in the top side. The idea is that you would play a DPS-oriented Twisted Fate with fleet footwork, Nimbus Cloak, Flash, and Ghost. In other words, you cannot be caught. To catch you, the enemy needs multiple hard CC. So yeah, you play in a very evasive way. It is very frustrating to play against, so I took on the challenge and decided to camp his lane because, shocker, everyone else was losing. Since the game was a lost cause, I decided to practice against this pick, so that in the future, whenever someone picks Twisted Fate against me in the top side, I know what to expect. We had the first gank and the second gank in order totally in our favor. But you can't gank this lane without using all your resources and not messing up. Because the moment you mess up this gank, you will suffer very heavy consequences. So yeah, again, the enemy jungler didn't have a chance against us. But we lost as a team. You can't blame your teammates if they are bad players. You can only blame them if they are intentionally playing poorly. A bad player is someone who obviously doesn't know when to engage, when to back, or what to build. If these three conditions are met, you are playing with a bad player. That player should be considered like someone with a badge for disabled people. They need time to learn and should take their time perfecting their gameplay. So, I went against this weird pick, hoping to learn from the experience. As in the previous game, I won the early game, lost the mid game, and was humiliated in the late game since I couldn't do anything. At moments like this, you should not start thinking about changing how you play, because the issue is not with you, but something environmental. It's like being born in 1899 to a family of slaves, a fact you cannot change. However, you can start thinking about how to escape, how to gain favors with your owners, how to improve your daily life, and build something out of nothing. Changing the fact that you are a slave is not an option at this moment. The only good thing about this game is that it will end at a certain point in time. So the only thing you can do right now is to improve your perception of the game. I went ahead and started analyzing what went wrong. Most of the things that went badly were simultaneous events in different areas, hence outside of my control. Regardless, I tried with all the tools I had to kill someone, even though we were behind in gold. The idea is that if we manage to kill someone at this stage of the game with limited resources in this build, it means we will kill more if we are ahead. Hence, you should always think of bad games as chances to experiment with your wild ideas. Don't let them slide. The only other options you have are either to play ARAM or play against bots. If these chances arise, you should not let them slide. And just like that, we lost the second game. Now I had an idea. I thought to myself, maybe I played too many games with the same skin, and my mind is starting to get bored with the way and animation that Volibear uses. Luckily, Riot provided me with the option to buy the Captain Volibear skin with a discount. Thank you, Riot. I went ahead and got the skin. It looks good, though I don't like the sound effects much. Maybe the colors are a bit funky, but I like the mustache and the hat. Also, Volibear in the splash art looks like the new movie, Kong and Godzilla. The new Empire, I think it fits the movie perfectly. So, in this game we went in with the same mentality. I forgot to mention that with this build, since Volibear gets a lot of value from using his ultimate frequently, I went with the rune Ultimate Hunter to get the most out of my ultimate. This rune serves as a reminder. You get the full stats if you manage to kill everyone. And this idea helps you become a better jungler in terms of ganking the enemies. You have two options to get this rune fully stacked. Either by ganking everyone successfully in the early game, or waiting until the Dragon or Baron fight to fully stack this rune. So we went ahead against, as always, a peculiar team composition. I didn't play against Heimerdinger in ages, whether in mid lane or top or even the AD carry. The usual strategy against Heimerdinger is to always be careful whenever you are ganking. Since they removed the possibility to smite one of his turrets, you need to either build a bit of magic resist in the earlier stages of the game, or wait for your ally to clear the wave and let the minions take down his turrets. The game went smoothly in the early game, even though we died a bit early due to Cyan not paying attention to the minimap. But to my surprise, with this setup, which I thought wouldn't work as well, I found that I was able to chase down and win 1v1s against champions like Bel'Veth, who used to beat me. With this build, you don't get the full amount of attack speed that you used to get with lethal tempo, but you get more than half of it at your first auto attack. You don't need to stack your attack speed. You start with around 60% of the previous fully stack set attack speed of lethal tempo the moment the fight begins. If you build ability power items like Riftmaker, Nashor's Tooth, and Zonya's Hourglass, you get the best of both worlds. Around 60% of Volibear's previous potential with lethal tempo, plus the extra damage from Press the Attack. Also, the current Press the Attack rune gives you extra damage against everyone, not just one opponent. It's like we have reversed the mechanics of the rune. In the previous version, you would mark someone, and they would take extra damage from all sources. Now you do extra damage with all your sources against everyone. So I think it's a fair trade. And it's a good chance to explore another version of the rune and how we can use it. It is also crucial to remember that we are not building defensive stats. And if you play a lot of games with Volibear, you are used to having safe mechanics ingrained in your brain. thinking it is okay to take damage. So I remind myself constantly that I should dodge, pay attention to whether the enemy still has their ultimates or summoner spells, so that I am always ready to either dodge any massive damage or set up my path to properly chase. I would say that this game was fairly in our favor, even though the enemy team had some difficult picks to play against. Since our early game ganks were successful, even though we didn't get any immediate benefits from them, it usually happens that you help your bot side with a gank. The enemy team uses their summoner spells, but you don't get any gold or experience, wasting a bit of time. However, you gain value in the long term. Once I was sure that my bot side was winning by themselves, I shifted my attention completely toward the top side. In the top side, it's a different story. In 99.99% of cases, you get something positive when you gank your top side. It may not be something impactful, but you are sure to get either experience, gold, or apply pressure by helping your top laner, making it stronger, and setting up for the mid-game to get the Herald buff. Another aspect of this game was that Bel'Veth, after losing the 2 early fights, started avoiding me. As Volibear, having mental and visual pressure against the enemy team is usually in your favor. This is why I think that having stats ready at the start of the fight makes you a menace and a threat to the enemy team, influencing their subconscious, which is a huge value you should not ignore when playing a frontliner or a juggernaut. Another important factor in this game was that most of my allies were paying attention to the map. It might seem like it's not something important, but if you feel that your team is moving according to your calls, you should make sure to perform at your best. It is a rare sight to have teammates that will be around you when you decide to make a call as a jungler. Moreover, if you decide to play around a carry, the team should naturally feel that you are shifting the focus of the game towards the mid laner, the top laner, or even the support, considering that decision as pivotal to your win condition. Also, based on the 2 previous games, I decided to go for defensive stats because Heimerdinger was dealing a lot of damage, which I think is due to the new changes for AP damage items, mainly the Black Torch item. I think they just played with the old items, trying to revamp them and bring them back, convincing new players that they are seeing something new. In fact, it is just 1 or 2 items combined to give you a false sense of the wow effect, so that you stay engaged in the game. And just like that, with this play, I think it was similar to a saying we have here. It was the last straw that broke the donkey's back. After this play, the enemy team got a bit tilted. Most of them gave up on playing this game. Possibly not Heimerdinger, because to be honest, he was playing well compared to his allies and even compared to my mid laner. So after gaining most of the vision outside of their red side, it was pointless to start the Baron buff without getting more kills. If the enemy has dead members and no vision, their best solution is to try and steal the Baron without dying. If we fake doing the Baron buff, we are setting up a play that is totally in our favor without anything to lose. Regardless of what happened in the earlier 2 games, I think in my humble opinion, that going in with Berserker Greaves and Legend of Alacrity is very beneficial since this is the start of a new split, and everyone is trying new builds. As Volibear, if we have a slight edge against our enemy team with attack speed, we will catch a lot of players by surprise in duels or skirmishes, and possibly win many games before they even start simply by choosing the correct runes. I might switch it up a little bit later, based on how it performs against different compositions. For example, I might try Ghost and Nimbus Cloak to catch running enemies like Twisted Fate topside and see how it goes. Well, I think we're witnessing the last play of this game. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a comment, drop a like, and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Take care everyone, and peace.